Hey, all right, shalom, shalom on the start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakar Kwadash. On the same, give double honor to the apostles and the bishop elders, a great millstone for teaching us his word and truth and sincerity and for ruling well. Salutations to the elect. Lord willing, we're some of those men and women who believe and fear in the name of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, and are patiently waiting for salvation. And I'm my brother Gabar Yahawah from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another lesson. And this lesson is inspired by this video that you just saw in front of you. And I just kind of want to speak about mercy, man, because that's something, too, that's given to the children of Israel. And to Wadi Yahawah Bashim Shai for his mercy. Us being in his truth, us knowing the name and of the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son, which is Yahawah Bashim Shai, that's mercy in itself, because the Lord could have it any other way, and that mercy wouldn't be shown to us. But yet the Lord has had mercy on Israel time and time again. And again, it was inspired by watching this video right here. I'm looking at this little kid, man, and all I could just, think about, damn, what this little child has had to go through, has had to witness because of an unmerciful man, right? Those so-called Jews, the small hats, they are unmerciful people, right? And another thing that had me thinking about, I watched a video, a live stream preaching, maybe like 2 weeks ago, and Elder Bishop Karab from the main camp, they were holding their camp, and he had spoken about that. He spoke about how, like, the nation's kings, they were never known for their mercy, but the kings of Israel were known for mercy. Maybe not all of them, but definitely some of them, and that was like an anomaly amongst these nations, amongst the nations of man, period, because they're not known for showing mercy, right? We're in captivity, right? And the so-called white man, he's ruling right now. He's not known for his mercy. What he's known for is his killing and stealing and lying. The thief cometh not but to lie, but to steal, to kill, and destroy. Roughly paraphrasing. John 10:10. This man is known for that. He's not known for mercy. If he do anything good at all, it's by accident. And in the end, his wickedness will show. Doing something, being merciful, doing something that's good is not Esau's first thought. His first thought is to do wickedness and evil. His ultimate thought is to do wickedness and evil. So basically, if this dude do any good, it's by accident. And really, it's set up by Yahawah Bashim Yahawashi, and it's given to the Most High, who he shall show mercy to. Because, see, we'll see a little kid like this, and we don't know what it did in his past life. We don't know if this dude was a demon to Israel. We don't even know if he's an Israelite, and he just having to face his judgment, right? And that's where wisdom comes in at, right? But just looking at this on the outside, and then they got that sad-ass music playing in the background and shit, that had you thinking like, damn, man, that's fucked up. But clearly these kids have been through hell, right? And then I think about us. I think about us as a people. We've been through hell, right? It was a time where these nations put hell on us. Look at the Antiochus Epiphanies. There's a matter of fact. Let me get that real quick. This is an example of the brutality of these Edomites, particularly Antiochus Epiphanies the fourth, right? Now he had no reason to be as brutal towards us as he had no standing reason to be as brutal to us as he was, but because he wanted us to follow his ways, and some of us refused, he hanged our children, right? This is the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 59. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of the Most High, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised, and they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. So here it is, the Antiochus Epiphany. When you read up in this chapter, there was a point in time where the king at the time, King Antiochus, the Seleucid king, Epiphanes the fourth, decided that everybody should follow his ways. And the nations agreed. Even some of the wicked Israelites, they agreed. But you had Israelites that didn't agree, particularly these women in this era. And they, instead of adhering to the king's commandment to leave off our customs, He killed the mothers and hanged the babies by the necks because they were circumcised. So we know those are male children, right? And that's unmerciful, man. You see? So when you see things like this image right here, like this kid is bugged out. Like he's fucked, man. Like he's a child. All he's seen is violence for no reason. It came out of nowhere, right? And he's in shock. This child is in shock, right? I wouldn't be surprised if the child, both of these children, had PTSD along with traumatic brain injuries, right? They probably seen their parents put to death, and through the mercy of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, these children are still here, even though they don't worship the Lord. They don't know the Lord, right? These people, their foreparents probably worship Allah, right? And show you what kind of idol, I don't even call that thing a God, what kind of idol Allah is. He don't even save the people that so-called worship him, man, right? Because it shows you that God is an idol. But see, our power is real, right? When you go to the book of Psalms 96 and 5, it might be 95, but I believe it's 96 and 5, right? Yep, 96 and 5, the Wadi Yahawah Bahasham Shai. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens, man. So all the gods of these nations, they're idols. And a lot of these kings, they kill, steal, destroy, murder, just do a lot of wickedness in the names of their idols, man. Right? That's what they do. Even though their idols are not real. Right? And like I said, I was just looking at this shit, and it just made me, it not particularly made me sad, but you know, I got little ones, you know what I'm saying? I have a little one. So, I have an adult daughter, and I got two small daughters, right? Under the age of 12. Right? And I think about my kids all the time, bro. You know what I mean? I ain't always around them because I'm on a mission right now. But the point of the matter is, I have children. And so when you see little kids go through shit like this, man, it fuck you up, bro. It make your heart sink. Cause like, damn, what the fuck this kid do? That he had to go through this and had to witness this. And the judgment that's going on over there in Gaza Strip, on the Gaza Strip, up there in Syria, right, is because Edomites want somebody else's land. It ain't because them so-called Arabs did something to the so-called Jews, right? They talk about October 7th as that just gave them the go-ahead to go murder hundreds of thousands of people, displace them, and take their land. That's a people of no mercy. Right? But when we come into power, the people going to rejoice, man. This is the book of Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. In the NLT, it says, when the godly, who are the godly? The Israelites, starting with the elect, are in authority, the people rejoice. And these people are going to rejoice eventually. Right? Because we're going to be doing things on the up and up. When we judge these nations, it's going to be righteous. Right? When we judge these nations, we're not judging them just to steal their land. We're not judging them to steal their resources. We're not judging them because the color of their skin. No, they being judged for what they did to us. From the men, women, and children. But the small hats can't say they doing this shit to these people for those reasons, right? Because their reasons are not justified. They can try to justify it by saying, well, they blew up and they kidnapped some of our people, which we know all that shit was an inside job anyway. They let that shit happen, right? You could have squashed that shit easily. If it was a certain organization, get that organization. But see, they believe in destroying the children because they don't want the children to grow up and be a menace unto them, especially the male children. That's a sign of a wicked and weak man, right? Here it is. You caused this turmoil. This little kid is shaking uncontrollably. He confused. He's hurt. You know what I'm saying? His brother is hurt, fucked up, and confused. They probably all they got, right? They probably all they got, and there's nobody to feel sorry for them. Just like us, the Israelites. You look at these little ones. Look at what about our little ones, right? What about our little ones that were destroyed and displaced? We were some of them little ones. We are some of those little ones, right? And our enemies, they take advantage. They take advantage of our weakness, especially the nation of Edom, right? But when we come in power, the people go and rejoice, man. Let me go back to this again in the Proverbs 29:2. When the godly are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked are in power, they groan, man. Right? Let's look up that word for mourn in the Hebrew. That word for mourn, and that word for mourn in the Hebrew is anah, right? Which is to groan, to sigh, in pain, in grief, right? And that's all you see in this world. And you can't think that this world just wants to be in grieving mode. You can't think that this world just wants to be even the earth is mourning and languishing because of the people that's in power, right? The only people that get to live a life of no grief or despair are the elites, are the Edomites, man. That's it. They grow up with no worrying at all. They ain't worried about nobody taking over Rothschild Manor and other manors that they have around the world. They're not worried about where they're gonna get their next meal from. They living in plentifulness. You know what I'm saying? While the rest of the world is grieving. See, again, when the real children, the true children, the true sons of God, because I'm gonna say that, right? Because I'm tired of talking about children. Because when you say children, you think of little kids. Little kids. No, we're the sons of the power, man. That word children shouldn't even be there. It should be sons, right? Just the book of Romans, Romans chapter, just bear with me, brothers, 8 and 17. Chapter 8. I'm sorry, 8 and 19. Romans 8 and 19. For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. Right? In the NLT it says, for all creation is waiting eagerly for the future day when the Heavenly Father will reveal his sons, who his sons really are. Because we know that those men over there in the state of Israel, them ain't the sons of the Most High. Some of us are scattered over there, but the people that's ruling, that's calling policy, that's making policy, that's causing destruction, those ain't the sons of the power, bruh. But the whole world is eagerly waiting for the future day when Yahawah Bahasham will reveal who his sons are. And he's doing that right now. Through his word, through the apostles, the bishop elders. Those are some of the sons of the power. Us, we're some of the sons of the power. Okay? So you see that and this world needs it. And they won't admit it. Right? When they look at the sons of the power today, they don't regard us as the sons of the power. They look at us as slaves, ex-slaves, niggas, immigrants, right? They look at us as black, Latino, Hispanic, Native American, these names they gave us. But they don't realize they looking at the sons of the God, bro. And the whole world, all creation, whether they say it or not, is eagerly waiting. Why? Because they're waiting for a righteous rulership. They're waiting for a group of men who will rule with understanding and mercy and equity, right? Because when we come into power, when we come into power, these nations, they ain't got to worry about somebody stealing their land. When we come into power, these nations, they ain't gonna have to worry about war anymore. That says it in the scriptures, right? This is the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 2. Isaiah 2 Let me get there. Salakia. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 4. And he shall, and it's that he is Yahawashi, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares. When Yahawashi comes back, he's coming back during the Third World War, during the height of it, and he's going to destroy these. He's going to destroy his enemies. He's going to destroy these nations and their militaries. Right now, these nations, they use instead of using their goods for agriculture and the building of their people and their land, they're building it to go to war. That's what they put in most of their money, their energy, and their power into going to war. But when Yahawashi come, he gonna judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, right, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Because why do people go to war? Because one nation that's more powerful than the other wants something that the other nation that's weaker has. Right? You don't see the state of Israel really going to war with Iran. They shooting missiles, but they ain't crossing them borders. Neither one, because they know the power of the war that's going to come behind it, which eventually it will happen. Okay? But when we come into power, these nations never going to learn war anymore. And we're going to set everything in order under the power of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. We're going to set everything in order. Every nation going to get their land, and that's where they're going to stay at. They're not going to be mixing and mingling. They're not going to be traveling to other nations to survey their inheritance or their blessing, all that tourism shit. That's not going to happen. These nations not going to plant seed in other nations' land. They're not going to covet after the resources and the lands that these other nations have. They're going to have to go to where they belong, right? Ham, go get their land back. And that's where you're going to stay at, those particular areas in Ham, right? Japhet, you're going to get your lands back. You coming up out of these isles and these places that you at today. You know, you're all in the Pacific, all in the South Pacific, right? You coming out of that shit. You're going to go right back to Europe. That's your land, right? But Esau, he's not going to be buried. Let me get that. Because of his wickedness, because his lack of mercy, his lack of understanding, especially in dealing with the children of Israel. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse Isaiah chapter 14. Yeah, Isaiah 14 and 18. It says, all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, and thrust through with the sword that goeth down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. So these other nations, when it's down, these other nations, when it's time for them to go back to their inheritance, right? Their graves, their places, right? Is their lands, right? Esau, you're gonna be casted out. Even the earth is not gonna be. No portion of the earth is gonna be yours. You're not gonna be stable in no portion of the earth. And on top of that, the land that the Lord did give you, the land in Edom, the tribe of Judah is gonna take. And you're not gonna have no land to go to anyway, because you're gonna be destroyed after slavery is over for you. See, even in that is mercy, right? Because the Lord could have it to eternity where you just getting beat to a fucking pulp left and right. But the Most High is merciful, right? You gonna get your ass handed to you for 1,000 years, and after that you're gonna be eviscerated, and your spirit go back to the one that gave it. That's what's gonna happen to you, Edomites. You are unmerciful people, bro. You are very unmerciful people, and that's why the book of James says what? James 2 and 14. I'm sorry. James 2. James 2 and 13. James 2 and 13. It says, for he shall have judgment without mercy, that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. In the NLT it says, there will be no mercy for those who have not shown mercy to others. But if you have been merciful, the Most High will be merciful when he judges you. And in reality, none of these nations have been truly merciful to us. To us. That's where it really counts. Like, you look at this little baby right here on this screen right here, and if your heart don't go out, if you wouldn't think about mercy, like, yo, you get that little nigga a pass, man. And that's another reason why the spirit of Yahawah, his anger is going to be on us, because Jake would do that. We'll we in comfort now, we chilling. We be like, look, man, we'll just let bygones be bygones. That's not going to happen. We're going to have the anger of the Lord, and we're going to judge these nations like they're supposed to be judged. We don't give a fuck if we in our in our rest, and you nations are just here. No, you got to get judged, and then we'll show that mercy. Right? There's another scripture I want to get. It's in the Apocrypha. Yeah. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 22. It says, therefore, whereas thou dost chasten us, Salakia, Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 22. Therefore, whereas thou dost chasten us, thou scourgest our enemies 1,000 times more, to the intent that when we judge, we should carefully think of thy goodness. When we ourselves are judged, we should look for mercy. And that's beautiful, because Yahawashi, he judges us in increments, right? And then because of his mercy and his everlasting mercy and grace, he don't even judge us to the full extent of what we should be judged. But that's why when we ourselves are judged, we look for mercy to the Most High, because we know that the Lord scourges his enemies, which is these other nations, 1,000 times more. And he don't show them no mercy. Well, he's not going to show them no mercy when he judges them. He's going to pour it on them, right? When, like, even our captivity, we are here in America, and we were in chattel slavery to the tribes of Judah and some of the northern kingdom. They went in chattel slavery too. They don't. It's not as publicized, but it definitely is written about, right? The Lord could have had us in chattel slavery for 1,000 for all those years, even up until now, but he showed mercy. We still in captivity, but it's a easier captivity, in the sense that you ain't get your back beat every day for nothing, right? You're not living in complete abject poverty on somebody's property. Not in the way we were on them fucking plantations, bro. The Lord could have had it to where we could have been in chattel slavery and chains until he came back. But the Most High, merciful, he ended it at a certain point. Because back then you couldn't drink, you couldn't do nothing. You couldn't find nothing to ease your pain. You could have a little sex, but even that shit was terrible, because you're bringing your children into bondage, right? On top of being in pain. But now, you got cable. You got cable, you got clubs and shit. Jake's got all kinds of shit. You got drugs, you got all that shit that you can get into to kind of ease your mind in the hell that you're in. Even though it's not helpful. But guess what? It ain't as bad as it once was. But for these nations, when they go into captivity, from day one, we getting the power. These nations gonna be in chattel slavery, hardcore slavery. It's not gonna be no break for them. They ain't gonna get no 250 years of hardcore working, slaving and shit, and then they get out of it, they get emancipated. No, that's not gonna happen. From day zero, gonna look like day whatever, when the Lord frees these nations up out of their captivity. And Esau ass, he ain't going nowhere. He's gonna be destroyed. That's no mercy. That's no mercy. It even says in the Zondervan Compact Dictionary Bible that Edom is the only nation that is not going to get any mercy. Because even Even the nation's gonna get beat, but they ain't gonna get beat as bad as Esau. And even that's mercy. You can see the Lord's mercy in any. Hey, the Lord take you up out of here early. That's merciful, man. You got people out here that's got terminal illnesses or retarded. Their mind is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Their bodies is jacked up. Their spirit is broken. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord will get them up out of here, bro. He'll send them back to the spirit world. That's mercy. That's mercy, man. We have brothers that died in the faith, that were sick, that were of ailments, you know, going through shit that we didn't even know about. Some brothers didn't even know about. But those brothers were taken up early. But because that was the Lord's mercy. That they wouldn't have to live down here or be down here when all hell breaks loose. And us, that's not saying that the Lord not showing mercy because we still here. No, the Lord shows his mercy that we are still here. He can do it both ways. It's times that we know we should have been out. But the Lord showed mercy and keep us going and keep us sustained. When all hell breaks loose down here, Yahawah Bahasham going to provide because of his mercy. His everlasting mercy towards Jacob. You see? Our power we know that our power is a merciful power when it comes unto us. And even these other nations, they got a chance to rule. They got a chance to rule on this earth. That's mercy, man, because the Most High is not an unjust power. Time and chance happen to all men. Right? So he allowed these nations to rule not once, not twice, some of them 3 times. Look at Esau. And he hates that motherfucker. But Esau can't see the mercy in that. You ruled as the Greeks. You ruled as the Romans. That was pretty much uninterrupted for you. Even though you had one group of Edomites following the Hellenistic culture, and then you had another group of Edomites following a Roman culture, you still were in power, motherfucker. He could have had it to where you didn't do nothing. But the Most High had it to where you ruled as the Greeks, you ruled as the Romans. Then you came back in power during the Renaissance period, and you've been in power ever since. We still here. Our people, we only had power and peace for 40 years. And we the sons of the power. The previous 40, David was bringing hell to you nations, man, putting y'all in order and subjection. Point of the matter is that we did get 1,000 years of rulership, though. But we fucked that off. So again, the Most High is not unmerciful. Leave it. The Most High is not unmerciful, man. Whereas these other nations, they're extremely unmerciful. Even look at how they treat us today. Look how these nations look at us, right? They happy that we're in our condition. You read the book of Lamentation. Lamentation, chapter 2, verse 15. Lamentation 2 and 15. It says, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their heads at the daughters of Jerusalem, at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we look for. We have seen it. In the NLT, it says, all your enemies mock you. They scoff and snarl at and say, we have destroyed her at last. We have long waited for this day. It is finally here. So when they see us in this lowest state that we're in today, these nations, they love it. They won't say it, but they do. When they get angry enough at you, they'll voice their opinion about it. Right? They total disrespect, no respect or regard for us and what we suffered down here. We didn't go to war with Esau. We went to war with Yahawah Bahasham and lost. We went to war with our power. We rebelled against our power. Because Esau don't have none of these nations can say that the reason why they were happy that to see our downfall was because we were ruling them and beat them and destroyed them and took all their goods and we were just hostile to them. Even though our kings did do what they had to do against these nations, and rightfully so. But these nations can't say that's the reason why they happy that we down. They happy just to see us down because they hate to see us up. But yet, when we in power, they're going to see that we are a merciful people. We are a righteous people. We are a wise and understanding people. And what's going to make us that is the spirit and power of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Those laws, that's commandments that's going to be in us. Because when we practice them, that's what these nations said. When we were in our right mind and we were following our power, when we wasn't warring against our power and rebellion, these nations said, damn, surely this is a wise and understanding people, which have the God that's so near unto them. Because their idols are far from them. They got to do all kinds of manners of wickedness to get a piece of a demon to pop up to make something move for them. Right? And then when they call their idols, when they call upon their idols, it's for wickedness, it's for evil. You see? But when we call upon our power, it's for mercy, it's for joy, it's for love, it's for understanding, it's for wisdom, right? It's for order, it's for divine guidance and protection. Because that's what the Lord did. I'll end it off with that on what I had on ChatGPT. This is from ChatGPT. It says, if you're referring to mercy as a ruling principle, Yahawah was consistently more merciful than the kings, often sparing Israel despite their sins when they repented, man. So the Most High is always merciful when we repent. And that's what we push to our people. But they don't want to hear it, they don't want to listen to it. But that's what we're saying. Repent to the Lord and he'll be merciful, and he won't swallow you up in his wrath when he brings it upon the nation of Israel as well as all the other heathen nations, man, in this time of judgment, in this time of wrath. The Most High is always merciful to us, man. But when you look and ask, were the kings merciful? It says, right, the kings of the other nations around Israel in the Bible were rarely described as merciful, especially in how they dealt with Israel or Judah. Most were known for violence, idolatry, oppression, or pride. And that's what this king of Babylon is known for, Esau, Edom. Look at Donald Trump, the king of Babylon. He's known for all of that. However, there are some exceptions where mercy or at least justice or restraint was shown, right? Here's a breakdown by nation, an example. Most kings were harsh and oppressive. Egypt, Assyria, Babylonian, Moab, Ammon, Edom, Philistia. All these nations never showed us no mercy, man. Right? So, yeah, like I said, man, when you look at shit like this, man, it's fucked up, bro. Like, you don't get no joy out of seeing no shit like this, man. This little dude, he just barely got here. And this is the kind of life that he had to live, even if he even lived to be a grown man. Right? It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up, bro. And then, the Most High is not a respecter of persons either. He gonna destroy men, women, and children. And we can't have the spirit of, damn, that's fucked up. Nah, we're going to have a cold, focused spirit in Yahawah Bahasham of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi when all this thing go down. But we know that that mercy, the Lord's going to show mercy to our households, to our young ones, to our wives, and to us, right? So we're not going to focus on too much on the judgment that's going on with these other people and other nations, and even our own, the people of our nation, 2/3. We'll focus on the mercy. Like I said in Wisdom of Solomon, it says, when we ourselves are judged, we look for the mercy of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And so with that, I'm going to say shalom and on to the next.